Today, the FFG team is diving into a potential global market drop in 2025. In a recent XRP session, Dick uncovered bold and startling imagery, hinting at a market break, a gap that could disrupt trading. And Daz's session revealed something just as alarming, a tipping point that could negatively impact property, banking, and wages. With questions mounting, the taskers at FFG wanted answers. What might happen? How could it unfold? And what would the aftermath look like? Under double-blind protocols, our remote viewers worked independently with no prior knowledge of the target. And their findings point to something big, a probable global market drop on the horizon.
The downwards ideogram here, which I tried to look at in a bit more detail, but it had a very erratic flow to it, and it had a very odd feel. The general feel was down, very chaotic and messy, very erratic, very jumpy and unstable, and not confident at all.
This seems like it was a metaphor. I saw the bottom dropping out on this box. Financial situation just took a sharp negative turn with some surprising event. Sense of despair. And it was very unexpected.
Lots of questioning men and worried men in suits.
Some are like looking at screens, some are looking at papers, some are kind of doing the shocked face palm kind of thing.
I saw a man sitting solemnly looking out the window on a rainy day. This one came through kind of clear. With a mechanical voice saying game over, that was really weird.
Financial crisis with a controversy. I get the idea of impending doom.
People out on the street, large group of people, they're masked, surging, raising their voices, frightened, angry, asking questions like a bank run.
It feels like a House of Cards kind of scenario comes to mind, like a legacy financial structure or institution has to change or, kind of reconfigure. The whole theme here is kind of like hit the reset button.
Economic plan being talked, a catastrophe, people assembled, they're watching. There's a day of reckoning, there's follow-on negotiations.
Big how to proceed framework. In order to answer these questions, they must turn to the law, the foundation with the system that they govern.
Proposing a master plan, unprecedented times type announcement.
Visual of Trump, it felt like one step closer to the transition from a fiat-based economy to a blockchain-based economy. No time to waste, sweeping changes, global implications.
There was a sense of hope and optimism on the other side, but it felt like it took self-reliance, hard work, and dreaming big to find and take new opportunities. It'll take a miracle.
And then I got this weird visual that I don't know that I've ever really seen this before. There was like this just grid pattern of stuff going in every direction. And it was like it was filled with like electromagnetic field and data moving around.
How does this factor, though, I wonder? A or the upcoming tokenized economy erupts. This feeling is like a boom. Lots of money flowing in. FOMO hits hard. Even Baldy Jim Cramer talks about it. A 24/7 stock exchange, trading volume doubles, triples, etc. This seems like an aspect of the target, a mad rush at play, and they run to it. So they went from yelling and screaming with their hands up in the air to running towards it.
And then I'm seeing a view of like stormy skies that are clearing up, like bad weather dissipates and good weather is pushing out the storm. Felt like a metaphor. And then the last thing I got was like a street sign of Wall Street, event that changes markets positively, and business district and financial markets are involved.
This is definitely one to keep an eye on. I think this is just a phenomenal piece of remote viewing from our viewers, and I think it's definitely one that we're gonna have to go, as we move along throughout the year, gonna take a peek at this data moving forward, because I do think that this was a significant target for you guys. So pretty interesting stuff there.
Pretty bleak, yep.
Sean, let's take a peek at yours.
Okie doke.
And I'll be doing I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning, I'll be doing a wrap up of everybody so you can kind of see your points of correlation, because there was a lot of points of correlation with these sessions. So for the viewers, there'll be lots of stuff to look at with this. So
Yeah, like I said, it makes sense now.
It does, and I did like in your session that ray of hope at the end, like because there's a whole lot of suck to get to that part at the end, but I did like that there was a sense that hey, this, if you have your wits about you, it could turn out okay. So
yeah, and that last one kind of took me by surprise because I was looking for more of like some main player in this some scenario, like, but it was more like it felt like it was more like the common man, like, be self-sufficient, be self-reliant, watch out for you and yours, and you'll be okay.
yeah, and I think you're going to see some of those big themes I think come through in other sessions as well. So yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Courtney.
Edward, let's take a look at your data, please.
All right, let's take a look.
See if this depressing financial ruin train is going to continue.
That was an enjoyable session. I really enjoyed that. It was fun to go through it again.
Yeah, and your session also had that kind of, hey, there's going to be this chaotic, and you really hit the sort of that legal thing that there's going to be some sort of kind of legislative or legal thing that needs to get sorted out. But you also end on a positive note that it is going to need some changes.
Need some changes and then go into kind of a boom period. Based on the session, based on the tasking there, it's like, to me, I would say once the freak out will turn to the law will say it's this way, and then once they have the law, it's boom time. And the FOMO, we go into FOMO mania of sorts.
FOMO mania.
That might be a new word. I was thinking Beatlemania, FOMO mania. But we'll see. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, great session, Edward. Thank you. Derek, let's take a look at your data, please. I like that data. Yeah, well, and like I said, we're seeing a lot of data that's correlating. So we've got some sort of announcement or official kind of capacity thing, but also too, your data kind of ended with that, hey, there's a shift. You're talking about that transition to a new system, but it also ends on a positive note, which I find very interesting. So overall thoughts on your session, Derek? Feelings?
Yeah, I feel like we're coming up to an event horizon. In the spirit of Marty, what you were talking about, hopefully whatever is on the forefront doesn't lead people to go and sell everything they've got and move to the woods. My encouraging words would be hold what you've got, be patient, and know that it's an inevitable change based on the changes in technology, and most people will probably do pretty well.
All right. Naeem, you actually did 2 sessions with this, so let's take a look at your data. Lots going on. I thought one of the things that I really liked about your session was I thought you kind of dealt with the why question quite a bit and sort of that aftermath to kind of bookend kind of like how we got here and how is that going to affect people. So I thought that your session really captured that quite a lot. All right. Dick, let's take a look at your session since it's all your fault that we're doing this target in the first place. And you're muted.
The last thing I was expecting, the last thing I was expecting on this would be that we would be tasked a page from my previous data involving XRP. So this was certainly double blind for me, totally unexpected. But let's see what I got. That term, loss of agility, and I just looked that up while we were doing this, and that term has not been used by the Federal Reserve. So I put it into the AI. What would the loss of agility mean if used by the head of the Federal Reserve? If the head of the Federal Reserve uses the term loss of agility, it would generally refer to a reduced ability of the central bank to respond quickly and effectively to economic changes or crises. would say, in summary, loss of agility from the Federal Reserve's perspective would signal a concern over the institution's capacity to dynamically manage economic conditions, potentially leading to less effective policy outcomes or slower responses to economic fluctuations. What I'm saying is just in case that becomes a catchphrase a year from now, loss of agility. Remember when Edwards said, oh, there's a term, game of function, which he published 10 months or a year before we heard that from COVID. So see if that term hasn't been used. We'll just bookmark this and see if the Federal Reserve could, well, due to a loss of agility, we're needing to take these steps. What's interesting about this is we're all describing something systemic. Like nobody said, oh, this is gold coins, or this is a stack of silver, or this is a hot new investment thing. Everybody had systemic stuff. Interesting sessions. Yep.
Very, very interesting. And yeah, if everybody is cool, I'd like to go through. I kind of correlated your data and try to put things together and tell hopefully a cohesive story. And then I'd love to finish up after that with some more, if Marty has anything to say about now that he's seen everybody's sessions and all this fun financial stuff. So let me go ahead and finish up this. So just want to give everybody, because yeah, there was a lot of overlap and really interesting stuff with your data. So I want to definitely hit as much of the highlights as I can for the viewers. A ridiculous amount of overlap on a really challenging target. So I'm curious to see what you guys all feel now that you've seen everybody's data. You've seen kind of how I was able to short term, kind of smush it together. And yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
I want to hear Marty.
Who was that guy on your group, Daz, that said we have too much doom and gloom here at Future Forecasting? He's going to look at this and go, ah!
Yeah. It's not looking good. It's looking a bit like a Lehman Brothers kind of situation to me, a market fell of some kind. What does Marty think after seeing that?
Yeah, I'd love to hear Marty's thoughts.
Marty, what do you think?
We looked at the picture with Dick, and that to me was a reaction. It wasn't the event. The event goes back to when you guys did the collapse of the death of the dollar. And being in the markets for as long as I have been, I realized personally, I've always felt, and I could be completely wrong, but it's always been a massive Ponzi scheme. Any kind of country that has any kind of currency has to be backed by something solid, because all a currency is receipts for something tangible. And the US has been 112 years. That currency's been in effect since 1913. And they were, at some point in the beginning, was a very legitimate currency. They had the naval power. They had the money in the bank. They had gold and silver, which you could actually turn your currency in and get silver and gold for it. And they strayed off that path. And of course, it became nothing but a Ponzi scheme. And unfortunately, all the other currencies of the world attached themselves to that dollar. So you got this massive ship, which is sinking, and all the small ships are tied to the ship that's sinking. So it's only a matter of time. That's why it resonated so much when you guys did that session, Death of the Dollar. I mean, I'm 100% confident in my being that it's happening. The thing is, when is it going to happen?